We are now going to do the seam finish called edged and pinked. This is exactly what it sounds like. You are combining two different seam finishes to one project. The first part we have to do is an edge finish. So we are going to be stitching on just the edge of the seam allowance. Move the material out of the way. We are not stitching two things together, so we do not need to backstitch. Line up the outside of the foot with your seam and stitch down your seam allowance. You will do this to both pieces. So it's one stitch straight down the seam allowance, not to the front, so you can see that the seam allowance is free of the front. You'll do this to both sides, and then we will do a pink on the edge. So if you flip this over, do an edge stitch on the other side, straight down, the first step is now complete. You have the edge stitch done to both sides. We are now going to pink the outsides. This is going to leave a zigzag cut using our pinking shears, which is going to also help with the unraveling of the material. To finish the edge and pink seam finish, you are going to be using the pinking shears. The pinking shears have no tip and have teeth on the inside. This is going to give a zigzag cut. We are going to take that seam allowance and cut on the outside of the edge stitch that you've already done. This is going to leave a zigzag cut. You want to try to make it as even as possible, so you can see a zigzag cut on the edge. You're going to be doing this to both sides. So flip it over, and once again, zigzag or use your pinking shears to cut along the outside of where you already edge stitch. You are not going to cut through that stitching because you want it to hold a line for you. If something should start to fray, you want it to stop the fraying. So when you are done, you have a zigzag cut on the outside from your pinking shears, you have a line from your edge stitch, and then you have your plain seam.